You're listening to Satellite Sisters.
What's a satellite sister?
The person you call when the best thing in your life happens or the worst.
The person that gets you up, gets you going, and gets you through.
And every once in a while, changes your mind.
This podcast is part pep talk, part weekly check-in.
Like grabbing coffee with a friend.
Thanks for being here. Welcome to the Satellite Sisterhood.
You're listening to Satellite Sisters, and we're happy to have you here today. I'm Lian, Dolan in Pasadena, California. I'm a writer and producer, and sisters, this is the start of our new season 22. Season 22. What do you think, Liz? What do you think?
I think that's really hard to believe, but I know it's true because we keep counting and recounting. And yes, we started this show in the year 2000. So here we are, 2022. That means we've been doing it 22 years. I, for one, have really enjoyed it. I live in Santa Monica, and but always happy to be on the line with you guys.
Jewel?
Hi, this is Julie Dolan. I'm the oldest sister in Dallas, Texas. I was just thinking there are probably people that listen to our podcast that weren't even born when we started the show. Well, that's exciting, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. It's great. New listeners. That's exactly what we need. But hey, you guys, we had a major milestone that we passed this summer, sort of in record time. So we wanted to note that this year already in 2022, we have had 1 million downloads of Satellite Sisters. Over 1 million downloads now of Satellite Sisters. I mean, this show is just 1 in a million, Liz. This is 1 in a million episodes.
1 in a million. I was so shocked when I saw that number on our little dashboard. I reset the whole thing, rebooted my computer. Is that real? Because longtime listeners may know we've switched platforms several times over the course of the history of the show. And so we just started on a new platform with a new partner in January. So to already be at 1 million downloads makes us very, very happy. Thank you, everyone who listens to us and who recommends to your own satellite sisters to listen. Thank you very much. You got us to 1 million.
That's right. 1 in a million. 1 in a
1
million.
in a million. Can I say, sisters, Liz and Lian, you two are 1 in a million too. Okay. Just wanted to say that. Okay. Just put that out there. All right. We know we don't really say that much, like things like that, but I just wanted to start that show in our 22nd season.
Okay. Well,
put a little love at the beginning of the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Julie. That's very nice. Well, you too, of course.
It's a little late now, Liz.
I know. Now there's nothing we can say after that. That sounds genuine. So, Liz, you had a couple of 1 in a million Satellite Sisters you wanted to mention.
I just, because we've been off for a number of weeks, and there were 2 things that happened while we were gone regarding 1 in a million Satellite Sisters. The first is that Olivia Newton-John passed away. And, it wasn't until I saw all the clips of her on the news after she died, she'd had breast cancer for a long time. But when you see those clips from Greece, you're just like, oh my God, I love her. I mean, Olivia Newton-John, she was so great in so many things. I had no idea, again, until I read these obits, that Grease is the #1 movie musical of all time. Did you know that?
I didn't
Did not know that. It came out in 1978. So let's see, I was in high school then. So I was about the age she would have been in the movie. Anyway, so Olivia Newton-John, I just feel like she had such an interesting career and kind of an interesting life. She'd been struggling with the cancer for a long time. She was in remission, and then it came back. Anyway, Olivia, we love you.
I thought it was just really extraordinary too that everybody said what a nice human being she was.
Yes.
And my whole Twitter feed was filled with the men I loved in the 80s,
Yes.
saying how great Olivia Newton-John was. So it was just doubly satisfying to see all those cute guys from 1978 say how much they loved Olivia Newton-John. I thought it was super nice. So obviously she was a super nice, thoughtful person. So that's, yes. So
1 in a million. That's
1 in a million. Yes.
Okay. And another 1 in a million who had news this month, Serena Williams, because she announced her evolution from tennis. So I'm sure you guys saw that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
of course.
First of all, I love the fact that she announces it in Vogue magazine. So that's just,
And if you haven't seen the cover of that Vogue magazine, go search it out because she looks spectacular in it. It was a spectacular photograph. Yes.
Yes. And what she said in her announcement, I have never liked the word retirement. It doesn't feel like a modern word to me. Me too, Serena. Thank you. We are so much alike in so many ways. I've been thinking of this as a transition, but I want to be sensitive about how I use that word, which means something very specific to a community of people. Maybe the best word to describe what I'm up to is evolution. So yeah, I'm with you, Serena. I'm also embracing the evolution. I have a major milestone birthday coming next month, which was really giving me some trouble, but you're helping me get over it, Serena, because everyone needs to evolve, right, sisters? Everyone.
That's right. Although I feel like we've been doing the same damn show for really a long time. All right.
Okay.
So later on in the show, it's just a huge breaking news story for me about Eileen Fisher. Going to tell you what that's going on. Okay, Julie, you have 2 friendship studies. You become sort of our friendship correspondent there.
Yes,
Julie.
I have. I mean, we talk about friendship, conversation. I've got some facts and some research. I'm going to bring it to you.
Excellent. We're going to tell you what we did on our summer vacations. Also, I have some new book tour dates I want to announce for the fall. And then in the C block, we had a great question on Facebook about nice movies that are appropriate for an 86-year-old mom. And we have some up on that. We have one unexpected title you might not have thought of. So you want to stay tuned for that.
Oh, okay. So what did we do on our summer vacations? I'll go first.
Okay. If you insist.
I would call this sort of a roller coaster summer for me. Ended on a high note. But as you recall, it sort of started on a low note. In May, I had a little vacation with a friend. And during that vacation, I had a reflexology session with a blind reflexologist. So you feel like this is a person who's really going to understand you, right? Because it's all about feeling what's going on in your body. And she told me I was dehydrated, bloated, and anxious. Remember?
Yeah, those were some powerful words, Liz.
Yes, especially from someone who's not even really seeing you, Julie. You know, they're just, apparently there was a lot of other evidence besides, looking at me that these things were going on. Anyway, so I went into the summer not in the best possible frame of mind. And then in the course of the summer, as we've talked about on the show, I was helping to run the World Track and Field Championships in Eugene, Oregon, or at the end of July. So that was something I was really looking forward to, but it was also a lot of work. So I had gone to Eugene for something, then I came back to Bend, and that's when I got COVID, right?
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, that was a setback, Liz. I mean,
yeah. So a couple of weeks before the World Champs, I get the COVID, and then there was a brief flurry of excitement during the COVID when I thought, oh, maybe the Paxlovid is actually making my knee feel better. Remember that theory I floated?
Yes.
That medical misinformation I trafficked in here on the show. Yeah. So I thought maybe there was something about that drug because all of a sudden my leg, which I had crushed last year, was feeling a lot better. And then as it turns out, in case people want to know about that science experiment, apparently what made my leg feel better was laying in bed for a week. That was really...
Well, that's some deep work there, Liz.
Yeah, some very deep work. So then I went back to Eugene for the World Champs, which I have to say, I'm not taking credit in any way, but it was a triumph. As an event, it was delightful. It did great on television. You probably saw the U.S. team killed it. All in all, the fans had a great time. The athletes had a great time. Lian, you and your family came. You had a great time, right?
I can vouch. It was a fantastic event. We spent 4 days there. We watched every single minute of the decathlon and other events. Beautiful venue, great town, great fans, incredible performances. So much fun. Glad we made the trip. Thanks, Liz. Yeah, it was great.
So it took a whole extra year to make that happen because, the COVID. Anyway, very happy to have that be such a success. And then I came back to Bend where I discovered one of the most life-changing things I've discovered in a long time. And that is a current channel pool at okay, I'll admit it.
What is that, Liz? I
Well,
don't know.
Julie,
I don't know.
I'm
what
about
you're
to
talking
explain. It's at the new senior rec center in Bend, Oregon. They built a current channel pool, which is, okay, imagine like you're walking in a channel and the water is flowing through the channel, but with some pressure against you. So as you're walking, you sort of have to push against it to then make any progress. So for someone like me rehabbing a leg thing, or if you had a knee thing or a hip thing, this would be really great. So it's like, if you try Googling it, which I did yesterday to see, please, is there one near me in Los Angeles? It is not a lazy river, people. It's not a lazy river.
That one could be nice too, Liz. You should try it.
Yeah. And it's also not an endless pool, where you swim against the current in a little box, but it is sort of a combo of those two things. Anyway, I worked out in the current channel pool, every day for 3 weeks, and my leg is now best ever, people. Best ever.
Oh, that's great.
That is really great news, Liz.
Mm-hmm. So I think I've gone from dehydrated, bloated, and anxious to fluid, mobile, and energetic. That's
wow. It. All right.
Ooh, Liz. Okay.
That's the roller coaster summer, but ending on a total high note.
Oh, wow. That's great. I actually wrote that down. And I use that in this week's pep talk: fluid, mobile, and energetic. I love it. Okay. I love it.
All right.
Okay. Well, keep us posted. I hope you find that pool. I used it too when I was in Bend for a couple of days, and it was fantastic. It was a really fun workout tool. I have to say, I loved it. I loved it. Even if it meant going to the senior center, I've embraced that as well. I liked being the youngest person at the senior center. Okay. I feel good about that.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I have exciting news. What we did on our summer vacation is find our son an apartment. Actually, he found himself an apartment, but my son, Colin, after 2 years of living with us during the pandemic, post-college graduation, when things looked pretty dire in 2020, he moved back home. And now in 2022, he is moving out this week. He's very, very excited. He happens to be living nearby. That wasn't his plan, but
that's nice. That's good.
It's actually here in Los Angeles. It's very, very hard to get an apartment. Housing is very tight. It's very expensive. He had sort of drawn a zone of where he could maybe afford and live. And it turns out he applied to probably 75 apartments.
Wow.
Most of whom he did not even get a call back from, because when you have no rental history, and B, you're a freelancer, you're just not a great candidate to get an apartment. And he's a friend of his from college is moving down from Olympia, Washington, to be his roommate. She's a female, but they are just friends. So they needed a 2-bedroom apartment, but they found one. And we did have to co-sign the loan because my friends that also have, or co-sign the application, because my friends that also have 20-something kids are like, there's no other way. You can't get them into a place. No one is going to take a 20-something. So once we got hip to that, things started to happen. And he moves in on Thursday. He is so excited and ready. I am so excited and ready.
It's time. It's a passage, Lian, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, it was nobody's plan that he come home after graduation. He graduated in 2020, which was, I think, the worst year of graduations in this country. I'm just going to say it. Their whole senior year was just aborted, stopped in the middle. There was some sort of vague online graduation. He was supposed to stay up there in college and work a whole nother year, like get paid to work on campus and sort of ended. He came home, he's in the film business here. That was shut down. And he spent the last year, working really hard as a freelancer, but for every 2 or 3 shoots he does, the third one gets canceled because someone has COVID. So it's been hard to sort of get in a rhythm, but he's hung in there. And I think he had some company on those days, and I feel like
some home cooking. He's gonna miss that for sure.
I say that to him every day, and he does acknowledge that, especially when he's on set for 14 hours a day to come home. And I'm like, here, look, I made you mac and cheese. So, but other than the home cooking, he's ready. I'm ready. I mean, he just keeps different hours than us. He's up late at night. Last night he was on a shoot till 4 a.m. I still hear every sound in the house. I need to get some sleep. So he needs to leave. So
Finally,
Everybody agrees.
You will really be truly empty nesters. Now,
Yes,
that
yes.
You have launched both of your children. Very good.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So that is very exciting. There was some packing and moving in this week. They don't turn the electricity on till tomorrow. So he's not actually moving over there till Thursday when his friend comes down from Olympia. But I tried to stay completely neutral, watching two men, my husband and my son, fight over who was going to pack the van the best. That's great.
Good. Stay out of that. Yes.
Stay out of it. And I was like, take whatever you want from the house. That was my feeling. Just take it. You have a childhood bedroom. You have some, real furniture in there. Take it. Take what you want. Your towels. Take the towels. Just take whatever you want. I'll get the new stuff. Why should I buy you the new stuff? You take the old stuff.
Good point. Good
yeah.
point.
But you know what's funny, Julie? We've done this story on the show before that kids don't want brown furniture and they want all new stuff. Colin actually really likes antiques and old stuff.
Okay.
So he took I would say he took a little bit of something from everyone. There's a beautiful chest of drawers that I had from mom and dad, sort of colonial inspired. He took that. Some of mom's trays he wanted to take because he took some of mom's trays.
Mom would be so
he
happy.
does a lot of putting boards, right? Charcuterie boards, maybe serving those on trays. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
that would please mom so much to know that Colin is taking some of her trays, which she loved to collect, trays and boxes. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And then Sheila was here this summer, his aunt Sheila. She was cleaning out her LA apartment because she's permanently moved back to New York. So he got some of Sheila's stuff. He's got, some of Sheila's bookcases and a really nice coffee table. Thank you, Aunt Sheila. And then he likes all the rugs that we had. And Julie, some of those rugs were yours. You remember when I was in Dallas and I guess I had a big suitcase full of books that I brought down and I sold. So I had a big empty suitcase and you just started shoving rugs in it.
Yes, because I've lived all over the world. I've moved a lot, but you can always take your rugs. Oh, good. I'm glad that Colin has some of the rugs.
So Colin has some of your rugs. So I just think there's a little bit of everyone in his house, but he's very excited to move out. And we are excited to start the new chapter and to get a decent night's sleep and to not have to put his dishes in the dishwasher. So amen. But we did it. But I feel like these 20 somethings, everyone I talk to, they just feel like they've lost a couple years of their 20s.
I know.
And that starting life was really delayed or lost, or we'll never get that time back, or just, so I feel like it's really a fresh, bright new start for him. He's very excited. So that's great.
Good for him.
So
Good
exciting. That's great. Yes.
Good. Well, I've been on my summer vacation. I was trying to have a fresh new start as well, because at the beginning of the summer vacation, I went for my annual physical, and lo and behold, I have elevated cholesterol, sisters. Okay. I've never had a cholesterol problem, but somehow I did. So my doctor said that I needed to tweak my diet. Okay. I don't really think tweak is a scientific term, but that's what she said to me. And let's be clear. It's not like I'm sitting around eating queso and chips. Okay.
No,
that is just not happening. This is just not happening, but I have taken it to heart. Okay. I have eliminated a lot of red meat. But here was the thing. I was looking for other ways to tweak my diet because I don't eat that much to begin with. So I had decided I would eliminate my beloved half and half that I have every morning in my coffee. Okay. That excellent creamy liquid that makes coffee perfect. Okay. So then I talk about
Julie, I just want to acknowledge the tragedy of that. Okay. You don't treat yourself to many things, but your beloved half and half. Oh yeah.
It's gone. It's gone. Liz, when I come to visit you in Santa Monica, you always would get a little box of half and half for me. Okay. No more.
Yeah.
So then talk about a roller coaster, Liz. Then I just went on a jag there. I tried some of that weak-kneed white liquid non-fat milk in my coffee in the morning. And I felt so sorry for myself, right? Big pity party. Okay. It just ruined the coffee drink. Ruined it. Okay.
Not even worth it. Not worth it.
Okay. And Lian, do not talk to me about alternative milks. Do not. Okay.
I don't.
No, there
You're
was
not
a
gonna get that from
bad week when I went over to the alternative milk department
Yeah.
at Tom Thumb. Okay. Just don't talk to me about that. Okay. I also tried iced coffee in the morning. Okay. No, you do not want a cold, sweaty drink in your hand first thing in the morning. You don't. That's not what you want. And
Mhm.
tea, okay, tea is fine if you're in a foreign country or if you need to be sure that they have boiled the water. Right? Okay. Right. Okay. So
Uh-huh.
that was, now we're into like week 4 and I am just wandering around. I don't know what I'm drinking. And I was really in despair and I was making something for dinner. And I happened to see in the Barefoot Contessa, it's her Cooking Like a Pro book. She had a small notation where she said, Nespresso makes a good cup of espresso. I don't know, for some kind of recipe. And I was like, that is it. Maybe I need to drink espresso in the morning. Maybe that will be my answer because I'll get the coffee and I like the taste of espresso, but I won't need the milk product. Okay. So I bought myself a machine, sisters.
Oh,
Okay.
right.
Okay. I bought myself a machine. Okay. And don't even start. Okay. You can recycle all the pods. I've read about that. I have special recycling bags. So don't talk to me about that. And so, but you get them in all different kinds of flavors and strengths and things like that. And I don't think you know this, but my husband brings me coffee in the morning. He has, our entire marriage. So, he's been bringing me all these horrible
So this
drinks.
is quite a transition for him too.
Oh yeah, he didn't know what he was doing. Okay, so he had to learn about that. We had to watch the videos on the espresso machine, and we had to, we were just. So now, sisters, he's become kind of a barista. He turns to me in the morning and he says, do you want Intensio or Stormio? And I'm telling you, that is worth the price of the machine just to hear my husband say those 2 words. Okay.
Wow. Okay. Well, Julie, that is a huge transition for you.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
mean, we all love our coffee and
Yes.
it is, I think, good for us. Coffee, a lot of antioxidants in there. So no shame in it. But all right. But Julie, I'm sorry to hear about the other stuff, the high cholesterol, but I'm happy you found a cup of coffee that makes you happy.
Intensio or Stormio, Lian. That's it.
Satellite sisters and misters, it's time to ditch the chemicals with Caraway Home's non-toxic cookware and bakeware collections so you can make healthier cooking a piece of cake. Caraway Home's non-toxic kitchenwares are all designed for the modern home and feature a chemical-free coating so food can be prepared with a peace of mind that no hard-to-pronounce compound will leach into your ingredients. And all sets come equipped with easy storage solutions so no stacking is required. Gone are the days of misplacing your lids. Liz and Julie, I absolutely love my cookware set.
Oh, that's good.
Oh gosh, it has made cooking so much fun. I can't explain it. I just love having these beautiful non-toxic products. It's an easy cooking surface. So it's got egg on, I'm flipping it like that guy in The Bear. You guys. I mean, I'm just
Good work, chef. Yes.
yes, chef. And I'm thinking of things to cook in all of the pans because I love using the cookware so much. I'm skilleting things, I'm sautéing things, I'm putting things, boiling things. Oh my gosh, I love this cookware. I got the beautiful blue set and it's just fun and easy to use. It makes cooking super fun again. So it's exciting that Caraway Home is offering this great deal to Satellite Sisters listeners. Okay, to get this cookware, to get 10% off your next purchase, check out carawayhome.com/SatSisters. Okay, this deal is exclusive for Satellite Sisters listeners. So visit carawayhome.com/SatSisters or use code SatSisters at checkout. Caraway, non-toxic cookware made modern. Julie, I mean, don't you love this time of year when people are posting all those back to school photos on social media? I love seeing this back to school season in real life, don't you?
Oh, they're adorable, Lian. I mean, I don't know whether it's pre-K or they're in 12th grade. I mean, they're just precious pictures. And you know what? They would look even better, Lian, if they were framed, if they were framed pictures. And you could have a whole gallery wall, all 12 years. I saw one where it was the 21st year because she was starting her PhD program. Can you imagine that wall all framed, Lian?
So here's what you do, Jill. You just go to framebridge.com and upload those photos. It could not be easier to have these great back to school photos framed. If you've never thought about doing this before, or if you've never used FrameBridge, now is the season. Back to school season is calling out for a good FrameBridge frame. These are custom frames. Their item is delivered directly to your door, ready to hang. And instead of the hundreds you'd pay at a framing store, their prices start at just $39 and all shipping is free. Plus, Satellite Sisters will get 15% off their first order at framebridge.com when they use the code SATSisters. So if you've never framed anything and you're sitting there looking at those great back to school photos, now is the time. Get started today. Frame your photos or send someone a gift. Oh my gosh. Send grandma or grandpa a picture of those. Oh my gosh.
I love those. Or how about the school drop off in the dorm room? You know, when you're like the freshman, you're sitting on your bed. Precious. I'll put it in a frame. Yes.
Go to framebridge.com and use promo code SATSisters to save an additional 15% off your first order. Just go to framebridge.com, promo code SATSisters, framebridge.com, promo code SATSisters. All right, sisters, I have some breaking news about Eileen Fisher. Now,
okay.
Here it is. Eileen Fisher is an actual person. Did you know that? Did you know that the Eileen Fisher line of, clothing for women was an actual human being?
Yes, I think I did, Lian.
I'm not sure I ever thought about it, Lian. But what did you think, that she was Betty Crocker or something?
Yeah, I thought she was just some cobbled together like brand image for let's see, we need somebody over 40, heading into the last third of their lives who's given up on fashion and just
wants elastic.
Just wants elastic waistbands. Okay. What could her name possibly be? Let's see. Eileen Fisher. I had no idea that she was a real woman until the New York Times did a piece 2 weeks ago about what they call industry outlier and godmother of a movement. She's an actual person, Liz and Joy. And
I can see this really rocked your world, Lian.
And what is the movement? Elastic waistbands?
Yeah. Well, you know what? No, it's sustainable clothing, sustainable fashion. So she actually has been a really incredible boss and leader of that company for 40 years. And now she's transitioning out. Liz, she's not retiring. Okay.
Of course not. Nobody does that anymore.
She's evolving.
Yes. Yeah. Evolving.
She is evolving, but she has run the company for the better part of 40 years. That brand, women, you know what I'm talking about. Everything you can pull it on. You can pull it over your head. You can pull it on your waist. You can drape it. It's boxy. And for someone who already is fairly boxy all on their own, I don't need more boxy fashion to make myself look like a mini fridge, but it's boxy sometimes, or it's long. They do things like put pants under dresses over sweaters. There's so many layers. And the stuff is very popular. They sold $241 million worth of Eileen Fisher stuff last year. Her brand has made money every single year except 2. She's only lost money for 2 years, which I think is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. The apparel business, that's a tough business.
Right. So that is part of it. They did this profile on her, and years ago, she had the opportunity to take the company public, and she decided not to do that. Instead, she gave stock to all her employees. She's been way ahead on this sustainable fashion movement. She has a whole brand that's called Renew, where you can exchange your clothes and then they make new clothes from them. They take damaged garments and they make them into fabrics. And so she's really been kind of a leader, and I didn't even know she existed. And so now I feel
Well, I feel that way about Condé Nast. I never thought that was a person either. I thought that was just two companies, Condé and Nast.
Oh, I don't think I knew that was a person.
I think it's a person. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Who knew? Wait, don't tell me Jay Jill is a person. Is there someone?
Okay, that sounds made up for sure. But I own a lot of Eileen Fisher, you won't be surprised to know. And I just feel like Eileen Fisher was always there for me in a pinch. You know, you just needed something that fit and felt good and looked fine. Eileen Fisher. Yes.
Yeah. Well, the stereotype of the brand, Liz, is that it caters chiefly to middle-aged, upper middle class women who are looking for untroubled elegance. So that's you, Liz. That's you.
Okay. Fluid. Isn't fluid one of your new words?
Fluid.
Yes. There's a lot of fluidity in her fabrics.
But it also works really well, Julie, if you're bloated and anxious.
Okay.
I have to say this, the times I bought Eileen Fisher pieces, they are more expensive than, the throwaway fashion version of it, but they last 4 years. They are well-made pieces of clothing, and you do get your money's worth out of them. And also they have the ability to grow and shrink with you. I would say,
Evolve, Lian. They're evolving with you. Yes.
I think Eileen understands us. Now that I know she's a real person, I see how. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's interesting is she's turning the company over to a woman who's come from Patagonia, who also believes in sustainable fashion, and which is pretty great. So the woman's name, I'm sorry, I don't have my notes here. Lisa Williams from Patagonia. She's worked at Patagonia.
That also sounds
like. Is that a real name, or is that just a fake brand name, Lian?
I don't know. I don't know. So there's a picture of her, so it looks like she exists. But anyway, it makes me feel very kindly and warm towards the brand now that there's a real person. She's been such a trendsetter. She has run the business her own way. She sort of shied away from ever being called a chief executive officer. She just kind of likes to lead by example and by collaboration. And now she's moving on. So Eileen, now that we know you exist, we wish you the best of luck.
Okay. That's good. Sort of a Martha Graham kind of person. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, sisters, I wanted to talk to you about two studies of friendship that came out they were reported on while we were on hiatus. The first one was in the Nature magazine, and this is a group that looked at 72 million Facebook friendships, and they came up with a really powerful conclusion. And listen to this: that for a poor kid, having wealthy friends is one of the strongest determinants of economic mobility later in life. Meaning that if you were a poor kid, but you have friends that are wealthy, you have the ability that creates more opportunity for you to move up the socioeconomic ladder. And it really points to the real world power of friendship. And I mean, this is our 22nd year. We've been talking about women's friendship and for a long time. And I just find this so fascinating about the power of friendship and how this one thing, having wealthy friends, was a much bigger determinant than education or family setting, that this was really important. Friends at different stages in our lives. Think about it. College friends, work friends, mothers groups, running groups. These are really the important keys to really moving out, rather than getting stuck at the lowest rungs of socioeconomic ladder, really moving up, because it decreases stress, and it improves. And in many cases at work, it improves performance. And friendships with neighbors, can really help in tragedies or natural disasters. Think about that. If you live in a community where some people have more resources than others, that when a natural disaster happens, people are able to help out and help you stay where you are, and you don't lose ground socioeconomically. And that if poor children grew up in neighborhoods where 70% of their friends were richer than they were, their future income would be 20% higher than their counterparts who grew up without these bonds across class lines.
Wow, that's dramatic.
It is very dramatic. It was but friendship across class lines is increasingly difficult. I mean, that, whether it's gated communities or you have more isolation, you don't always have that opportunities. But this study talked about there are certain spaces where you can have sort of cross-class bonds. One are churches, temples, some sports teams encourage this. Certainly affordable housing, if you have that in your community. Colleges and universities can encourage this by who they accept into their programs. The study said you can also take your kids to the free activities in your community, in the parks, at the libraries, to really increase the bonds in your community. Certainly volunteer work as well can help you reach across class lines. But I thought this was really just a stunning report and very powerful. And we're going to put the link in the show notes, thanks to Liz.
Yeah, it's interesting, Julie. I read that too. I mean, our society is more economically stratified than it ever was, or
Yes.
than it's been in modern times. So that is a challenge. But, people they use the word privilege or they poo-poo the word privilege, but it just goes to show that opportunity is just so important. And
Exactly.
that anytime you're in an environment where the doors are open, there's more opportunity, where you can at least have a vision of, what opportunity can do. It does make a huge difference. It was a very interesting read, that study.
So I would encourage people to read it and to think about it and think about what you can do in your own community to really to reach out across class lines. I think that's important. The second study, this is something that we have been preaching about, just again, the power of friendship and conversation. But there was a report in the Wall Street Journal a couple of weeks ago about, listen to this, sisters, that if you walk with a friend, that is really good for you. If you walk and talk with your friend, you are actually it's been proven scientifically that you're doing well, that the combination of exercise, getting out in nature, and connecting with other people improves hormonal balance, and it boosts your overall coping mechanisms to deal with stress. So it affects your blood pressure and your heart rate. So go take a walk with your friends. How about that?
Wow.
Can you believe that?
I think this is what Monica used to call science of the obvious, right?
Yes, it is science of the obvious. It's something that we have always talked about, but now they've actually proven it. And it's right. Okay. There is a reason it feels good when you've taken a walk with a friend, because it feels good. Okay. Yes. That's the answer.
And even so many listeners take a walk with us in their ears, Julie.
Okay. That counts. That absolutely. I think we should commission our own study. I don't know how, but the impact of listening to Satellite Sisters while you walk. Yes.
Well, Julie, I think you're now the head of our Friendship Institute. So why don't you can fund a study.
I can fund that. Okay. All right. I'm saving all this money on half and half. So I'll be able to take that on.
All right. I wanted to mention a couple of book tour dates that are happening in October. Some of which were canceled dates from the spring when I got COVID. Others are fresh new dates and opportunities. I'm doing my best to put things back together, but it's not that easy. People have plans, bookstores and things like that. But I will be teaching at the Erma Bombeck Writers Workshop again this year, but this time in person in Dayton, Ohio, October 20th through the 22nd. I was on the faculty, then I was off the faculty, and I didn't know if I could make it. And then they filled my slot, but they just called me last week. They'd like me to come. I'll be doing, it looks like 2 podcasting, a panel and a workshop about podcasting. So
that's great.
But they have all kinds of great guests there, lots of writers from different genres. The focus is humor writing, but also podcasting, marketing. You could do stand-up. It's really looks like it's going to be fun. It's my first time going in person. I did the online version 2 years ago when it was shut down from COVID. So I'm really looking forward to that. I am trying to work with our Dayton Satellite Sister Street team there to set up a meetup. They were working on it in 2020. I reached out yesterday. I'm like, here's what's happening. I'm coming. So we're trying to find a time that weekend where we can maybe get together for people who are in the Dayton / Ohio area. So, but if you want to come to the workshop, please do. There's still slots open, and the link is in the show notes, or you can just Google Erma Bomback Writers Workshop. Also, I will be appearing at the Pequot Library in Southport, Connecticut. This is the reschedule from May when I had to cancel, on Thursday, October 27th. So if you had already signed up for that, you've probably gotten emails from the library, but this is a new date. So I'm doing a free talk at the library, my hometown library, or there's a VIP package where it's the talk, a book, and a cocktail party afterwards.
Ooh,
So
okay.
yeah, I
Sounds
know.
good.
One of the pretty houses. right
Support
next
the
door.
library.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And the money does not go to me. It goes to support the library. Thank you, Liz. That's October 27th in the evening, 6 to 8:30 p.m. Again, there's links in the show notes, but also at liandolan.com. I'll put links all over the place. You do need to pre-register, even if you're going to just the free event. And then those of you on Long Island, I was going to appear at Theodore's. I'm still working on that, trying to work on a date to get in there the weekend of the 28th and 29th of October. Trying to get in, but looking forward to it. Planning my travel now. Oh, Julie, I'm going to Dallas.
Yes,
Right?
you are, Lian. You're going to be in Dallas in mid-October.
Mid-October, but I don't. None of those dates are public. But I'm doing a bunch of speaking in Dallas as well. So maybe I'll get myself some more rugs while I'm there.
Okay.
Just fill that away bag with some rugs.
At Satellite Sisters, we love our Green Chef. Green Chef is a CCOF certified meal kit company, and Green Chef makes eating well easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just Liz Dolan. You're gonna be eating more balanced meals. Green Chef offers a range of recipes to suit your preferences. Liz, what have you been cooking up lately from Green Chef that you love?
Well, my plan is just to have fresh food in the house, Lian. So that's why I love Green Chef. When the box arrives every Friday, it's just, I know I'm going to have some healthy meals for the whole week. So I'm the sort of plant-powered plan because I like to eat less meat if I can. So this week, one of my favorite Green Chef recipes is in the box: green pea and feta falafel, Lian. And that's with a lemon basil yogurt sauce, whole wheat couscous, and kale salad. Doesn't that sound tasty?
It
And it's actually kind of fun to make because falafel is also fun to say, right? Fun to say, fun to make. I recommend it.
I was thinking of that yogurt sauce. That sounds delicious.
Mhm.
Well, here's the great thing about Green Chef, Liz. They're offering more customization than ever before with new organic and wild-caught protein options. So you can swap the protein in any meal that features chicken, beef, or salmon to suit your taste, which is pretty great. And they're going to deliver the recipes tailored to you directly to your front door. You get to choose from 24 recipes weekly with an option to mix and match. Like we said, order a vegan one, or then the next day order a keto one. Totally fine. You can customize those meals with these great USDA certified organic ground beef, USDA certified organic chicken, and wild-caught salmon. And these recipes are exciting, Liz. They're new, they're fresh, and they are delicious. And for the first time ever, Green Chef is offering a limited Farm Fresh Selects, a premium collection of farm fresh flavors to elevate your summer evenings. We want that, Liz. We want
That's
it.
your favorite word when it comes to my attempts at cooking. Elevate. That's what you always tell me to do. Elevate.
All right. So if you are interested in this, and we know you are, because now would be a good time to kick up a meal kit subscription, don't you think, Liz?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this back to school season gets super busy, back to work, busy. So you definitely want to have the healthy food around that you can just whip up at the end of the day.
Here's what you do if you're a Satellite Sisters listener. You go to greenchef.com/sisters135 and use code sisters135 to get $135 off across 5 boxes. And your first box ships free, which is pretty great. Go to greenchef.com/sisters135 and use code sisters135 to get $135 off across 5 boxes, and your first box ships free. Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well. I know you've all heard us sing the praises of Prose. It's the world's most personalized hair care. And for those of you who haven't, welcome to Prose Nation, because we love using our Prose customized products. Liz, you're so into Prose. You have different sets of Prose.
I do.
Different microclimates. What is going on, Liz?
I do, Lian, because that's what Prose wants me to do. So when you take the quiz at Prose, which is very fun, they ask about the weather and the climate where you're going to be. And I realized at the beginning of the summer that I was going to be in Central Oregon all summer. I was in Bend, Oregon, and that the climate there is actually different than where I live here in California. It's hotter. It's drier. I was going to be outside more. So I ordered a different formulation that's appropriate for Central Oregon, Lian, and I got it. And that's what I left up in the little bungalow in Bend. There's now customized shampoo with my name on it for that climate waiting for me every time I go to Bend, Oregon. How about that? That's Prose working for you.
That is, Liz. That sounds great. And does your hair look great? Were you happy with the results?
Totally happy, because it gets super flat, super dry. It's not usually a good result when I'm there. No, Prose made a big difference. Both the shampoo and the conditioner, Lian. Excellent.
Okay. Well, because here's the deal is if you're not 100% positive that Prose is the best hair care you've had, they're going to take the products back. No questions asked. But it sounds like you are keeping those Prose.
100%. 100% positive.
For both of your microclimates. All right. And we like that Prose is a carbon neutral certified B Corp, and they're an industry leader in clean and responsible beauty. That's great, Prose. So if you want to get in on this, Prose is the healthy hair regimen with your name all over it. You can take your free in-depth hair consultation and get 15% off your first order today. Go to prose.com/sisters, and Prose is spelled Prose. Prose.com/sisters for your free in-depth hair consultation and 15% off. All right, it's time for entertaining sisters. Lian, Julie, and Liz here. Okay, we have had so many great posts on our Facebook group lately. I always say it's the nicest corner of the internet, but it really is the nicest corner of the internet. People are asking for travel advice, or what do I do with old pantyhose, or how do I get this bleach stain out of my dress? I mean, or they're, talking about some more serious issues. We just love it over there. If you are on Facebook and would like to be a part of the Facebook group, just search. The easiest thing to do is go on Facebook and search groups, the Satellite Sisters. You do need to answer the questions. Just a couple of simple questions. We just want to make sure that the group is people who actually listen to the show. That way it's just people understand the whole ethos and things won't spiral out of control. We'd like to keep it the nicest
like the
spot
rest
on
of the internet.
Yes. Okay. But I saw this post from Carol, came in over our hiatus. It said, I'd appreciate some ideas on nice movies for my 86-year-old mom. No explosions, no sex scenes, not too sad. Thanks for your help. All right. So there you go. I think we could all understand this. And boy, did people respond. Movies Coda, all of the Cinderella versions were mentioned. The new version, the old versions, the Drew Barrymore Ever After, which I think is a cute movie. Music and Lyrics. That's another Drew Barrymore masterpiece, a rom-com.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's a good movie.
That's a cute one. Sabrina, the Harrison Ford version, very charming. Someone put down the Mighty Ducks. Okay, sure. I mean, I didn't know grown-ups watched that movie, but great. Okay. Yeah. Mighty Ducks, Downton Abbey, right? Those two movies, it's like more of same from the TV show. The Intern, that's a good one with
That's a funny movie. I like that. Yeah.
Big Fish is kind of a cult classic. So I saw that on the list. Babe, I mean, nothing wrong with Babe. Always great. The 100-Foot Journey is a very charming movie. We recently watched that. Something like The Philadelphia Story, a classic, or Bringing Up Baby. Those are all good choices. But Carol, I just wanted to give you an alternative maybe to keeping things nice and calm for your mom. At one point towards the end of my mom's life, Julie and Liz took my mom to the movies. And sisters, I'm going to turn this over to you because Carol, in case you want to shake things up a little bit for your 86-year-old mom.
All right.
What was the story? What was the movie?
Okay, I'm going to set this up a little bit, but Julie has to tell the story because it was Julie's fault. So
you heard that, right?
So, right. Our mom was, it was towards the end of her life, but we wanted to take her out and go to a nice movie. And Julie heard that this movie, Magic Mike, was super fun and very charming. And I remember thinking, well, it's about like a male stripper. Is that really like mom's strength? Is that really something mom is going to enjoy? But Julie's like, no. I've heard it's great. And we took her to see Magic Mike.
Okay, so in my defense, all right, there were no other movies, and our mom loved to go to the movies. So it wasn't like we were like that. We had, Sabrina wasn't the other choice that we turned down. And Magic Mike, as you remember, was directed by Steven Soderbergh. And I've seen a lot of his movies. Liz, Lian, you too. Mm-hmm. They're fast paced. So yes, it was supposed to be about a stripper, but I just assumed that the stripping part would be pretty fast paced. I didn't think, let me tell you, it's very slow paced during the stripping part. And our mom was sitting between us, Liz and me, and at several points in the movie, she put her head down in her lap and she was moaning because it was so obscene.
It was very slow paced.
Oh my gosh, it was so obscene. It was so slow-mo, so much slow-mo. I mean, and we were there. We just were stuck. We just couldn't eat. We kept saying, well, do you want to leave? Leave. I will never forget the sound of mom moaning because she had just never seen anything like that. And to think that this was the last movie that she ever saw in her life. Oh no.
Let's just say, Lian, it was not really age appropriate.
No, it wasn't.
Younger to really enjoy this. And you forget, Julie, but the very first scene in that movie is like an explicit sex scene. and
we just thought, that's right. We'll just, that was just the beginning. Well, it was going to get better. Didn't we tell her it was going to get better? Yes.
Can I say the word three-way on Satellite Sisters? Because that's what it is, Lian. And I was just sitting there thinking, well, I'm sure mom has no idea what's going on here. So that was the good news.
Okay. So Carol, I don't know. Consider it, Carol. Maybe, it's no 100-foot journey, but think about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last movie of her entire life.
I have to say, I think about that probably once a month and it makes me laugh for 12 years. Okay. So it's worth it on that end. It's
Okay. Well, I have a very different kind of recommendation. Nobody's going to believe any of my recommendations now anymore, but I would like to recommend The Edge of the Earth, and it's on HBO Max. This is a 4-part series chronicling 4 different groups of extreme sport athletes. So there's one group that's in Alaska, and they're on snowboards, and they're snowboarding down like the most treacherous glacier in Glacier Bay National Park. The second group, they're in kayaks on a never before attempted trip down a river in Ecuador. The third group are climbers, they are doing free climbing off a peak in Kyrgyzstan. Okay, I'll come back to that. And then the fourth group are surfers, like 2 big wave surfers. I didn't know what big wave surfing is, but you can watch this to find out, off the west coast of South Africa. So the series is great. The photography is amazing. The athletic ability of the skiers, the kayakers, the climbers, and the surfers are just over the top, and how they filmed them in these incredibly dangerous places that are so remote, where there are no roads, and the story really tells the challenge of getting there. So I would totally recommend it. Also, because the third episode is featured in, it's about Kyrgyzstan. This is where the home country of my daughter-in-law, Vera, and just absolutely spectacular scenery in Kyrgyzstan. So I would recommend it from that point of view. I would say it's generally good for the whole family. Many of the athletes do swear. They get upset and swear when things go wrong, and a lot of things go wrong. So there is some profanity in that. But mom could have watched this. Yeah. It would have been so much better than Magic Mike. Okay. That is called The Edge of the Earth, HBO Max.
Okay. All right. On a related note, I want to recommend a movie, Julie, that I really think is the ultimate film for you and your husband, because as we have often mentioned on the show, your husband is a geologist.
Yes.
So whenever I see rocks as like the main feature of a story, or the earth as a main feature of the story, I think, oh, these guys would love this. So this is a brand new movie that's out now from National Geographic, and it's called Fire of Love. And it's the story of two French volcanologists, Katja and Maurice Kraft. So they're intrepid scientists and they are lovers. And they meet early in their lives, like when they're in university, and they're both just obsessed with volcanoes. And they spend their whole life going to volcanoes, filming them. They became very famous in their era for books and films about what it's really like inside a volcano. And they would get unbelievably close to these volcanoes, so close that that's how they died. And I'm telling you that that's not a spoiler, because that's the very first thing they tell you in the movie, is that they died doing what they loved. And then they share all of this unbelievable footage of lava and explosions and volcanoes all over the world, from Etna to Indonesia to Mount St. Helens, and just really gorgeous. So producers went in and they pulled a lot of this old footage of them, not only the stuff that they had shot like inside these volcanoes, but they became like super famous and popular on the talk show circuit, especially in France, where they're from. So you see them on these like super intellectual talk shows talking about volcanoes, and then you see them in the mouth of a volcano. Really, really fascinating. And it's out in limited release around the country now. It would be like in smaller theaters, but it will be on Disney Plus very soon. So I think if you're interested in volcanoes or scientists and how they work, it's called Fire of Love. And I think you would really, really enjoy it.
Oh, thanks for that recommendation, Liz.
Some of the stuff, you can't believe how close they are. And then you remind yourself that like, oh yeah, that's why they died, right? Because that's what that's what they did.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. Then there's another, now moving into books. I just wanted to say, a couple of weeks ago, Lian, I saw a tweet that you sent out about Jeanette McCurdy's book, I'm Glad My Mom Died. It's a memoir that came out this summer. And I believe your tweet was just something like, wow, right? You loved it.
I could not put that book down. I listened on audio. It's a 6-hour audio book. I listened to the whole thing straight.
Yes.
I couldn't stop listening. I found the story unbelievable.
Okay. So here's the thing. So I have no idea who Jeanette McCurdy is. I didn't know that she was like a famous child star who she was in the show iCarly, which I've never seen, but you were probably familiar with her from TV, right? From Nickelodeon.
Oh yeah. I mean, my sons were the iCarly generation, and that was a really hot time for Nickelodeon. They were just producing hit after hit. And I really liked that show. I thought iCarly was a very funny show. Jeanette McCurdy played like this, the sassy best friend. But I liked the show because I thought the girls in it were great. Like they weren't overly sexualized. They had a web series, sort of like a podcast at the time. It was fun. It was clever. Of course, there were no parents involved ever. The parents were mysteriously living in another country. So their older brother was, raising them. But I just thought it was a lot of fun. I liked that show a lot.
Yeah. So I didn't know any of that, Julie. I didn't know about iCarly. I didn't know about Jeanette McCurdy. I just started to listen to this book driving home from Oregon because I saw Lian recommend it on Twitter. And I got to say, this is an amazing story. Even if you have no idea about who Jeanette McCurdy is or who iCarly is, it's just sort of the really shocking details of her life being exploited by her mother, by the business. And she tells it in this super dry way. So you're getting this super dry delivery of just some pretty shocking details of her life. Wouldn't you say, Lian? It's like I'm so glad I listened to the audiobook.
Right. I mean, she had done this as a one-woman show. She stepped away from acting after a whole series of issues, including the death of her mother. And she did this as a one-woman show and then signed with the publisher. And I read a good story about her working with the editor to get exactly that. But Julie, here's the deal. Her mother was a complete narcissist and a hoarder, pushed her into these auditions. She was taking something like 10 dance classes a week. At one point, no surprise, she developed a very serious eating disorder.
Oh dear.
She developed alcoholism. She had some issues with religion and relationships. And she's come through it on the other side. But you're right, Liz, she reveals these things that are, I mean, that is just a tip of the iceberg of what she went through between ages 6 and now she's like 31. It's not like she's old now. And she tells it very plain spokenly so that it just kind of comes out. She wanted to capture the idea that you were experiencing it as she experienced it. Just sort of part of her life that she had no control over.
Right. That she didn't think this was her childhood. So this is all she knows. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right. She didn't know that this was very unusual. And there are lots of parts of it. The parts with her parents, particularly her mother, the parts with some of the people she worked with in show business. And because I didn't know anything about her either, I didn't know that she actually got on TV. So as it revealed itself to me, like I was totally swept along by this story. And fascinated. And then, so last week when I downloaded she was number 1 on Audible, and I can totally understand why. And it's a massive bestseller. But Lian, you were number 3. So that's
was pretty great for you. For one moment, Lost and Found in Paris was right up there with Jeanette McCurdy and Where Those Darn Crawdads Sing. That book is never going to get off the bestseller list. Here's the interesting backstory, though, Liz, on that. So her publisher completely underestimated how popular this book would be. And they printed up 70,000 copies and it was completely sold out within days. So now there are no hardback copies to be found. We're waiting. So she's having to do book events where all the books are already sold. Like there are no book events. It's sold out. They just didn't understand how revelatory this story was or what she meant to this entire generation of young women or moms like me. I was interested in her story. And I think it just hit a tipping point because, when iCarly was at 10, 12 years ago, that's when she was working on Nickelodeon. And in a million years, you would never talk to the press about an emotional issue you were going through, right? That was the whole point of this book, is that she literally hid everything. She couldn't talk to anybody. She couldn't reveal anything. And that resulted in eating disorders and drinking problems and all kinds of relationship issues. But now we have a very different generation of young stars and young athletes who are willing to say, hey, listen, things are getting really bad here emotionally. I need to take a step back. So I think young women and men were very interested in this story because this is the way it used to be. And it's just not that way anymore. So it's breaking all kinds of publishing records and they just can't believe how many books she sold because they did almost no pre-publication press for it. Very little. I mean, she did get a story in the New York Times, a big story, but other than that, they didn't do the usual stuff and people they just want to hear this story and they want to understand what she went through. So it's a great book. It's a really well-written book too.
Really well written, really well delivered. And just sort of you just never know what's going on in someone's life. That's
right.
huge.
So
yes,
true,
Liz.
Liz.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say this, I think the description of her eating disorder is so powerful and so real and so raw. So there's a trigger warning there for you. But if you're someone who has lived with someone with an eating disorder or thinks someone, I was sort of the best descriptions of what is really happening
Yeah.
with that and going through
Mhm.
their mind that I've ever read. It's just, I, from that point of view, I feel like I learned a lot about stuff. So the name of the book is I'm Glad My Mom Died, which is controversial, but, you know, when you read the book, you're like, yeah, I get that. I
Yeah.
get that.
Wow.
I get that. So anyway, it's out. There are no hardbacks available, but it's available in e-copy and audio right now. Jeanette McCurdy, I'm Glad My Mom Died. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean, I'm glad you listened to it, Liz.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Had no idea what I was getting myself into. And it just was like,
Yeah.
Sometimes those are the best stories. Yep.
yeah, so pulled along. Okay. Speaking of eating, I know you talked about the TV show, The Bear. I think it was when I was
Yes.
gone, or maybe I just
Yes.
wasn't paying attention, but I started to watch this when I had COVID and it was too exhausting. It was-
Yes. That's what we said. Too intense.
This is like
Exactly.
the most tiring TV show ever. So I had to quit halfway through COVID, but then I went back and watched it. This is really a fascinating TV show. It's super intense. And you know that it's really had an impact on like popular culture now, where you see all kinds of memes about it on the internet because the intensity of what they're doing in that kitchen. Oh my God, just unbelievable. So Julie, I know you recommended it. I'm recommending it again, just because
Okay.
if you've got the energy, if you're feeling energetic, it just is like, it's such an interesting look at really any super intense workplace. Like if you think the work is driving you crazy and that it's not right. Yeah. But I thought also all the characters in it were really interesting and unique.
Yes.
So, which you don't see very often. So that's The Bear. It's on Hulu. I know it's been recommended. I'm just re-recommending it.
Yeah, it is great. But you can only watch one episode at a time. You can't binge it, especially if you worked in a restaurant. You really have to watch it slowly. Watch it slowly. All right, sisters, that's it. Our 1 billionth show. I mean, I'm proud of
Yes. Yes. Congratulations to us.
Yay. Congratulations to us.
A big thank you to the people that help us produce our show. Big thanks to Sergio Enriquez. He's our audio engineer. We're so grateful to have him on our team. Emily Loudermilk does our really fun graphics. Thank you, Emily. We don't see these people in person anymore and we miss seeing them, but we love having them on our team. If you want to see Emily's graphics, the best way to do that is to follow us on Instagram at Sat Sisters, or subscribe to our newsletter. Pep Talk will be fired up again this week. I was taking a break to, I don't know, write a novel. That
does sound relaxing. Yeah.
So relaxing, Liz. Still writing the novel, BTW. But I'll send out the newsletter this week. So if you go to satellitesisters.com, there'll be a pop-up. You can sign up for the newsletter there. That's a once a week newsletter when we're in production. Also lots of show notes and everything at satellitesisters.com. Lots of information there if you're looking for stuff, and go ahead and join that Facebook group. We would love to have you. All right. It's to-do time. Jewel, what do you got on your to-do list?
I'm going to be making a mammogram sandwich this week. Okay. Got to have that medical test. It's very important. Nobody, people don't love it. So I have booked a sandwich where I am doing something pleasurable before and after the mammogram. So
Okay.
how about
That's a good
that? I'm going to
strategy.
get my hair cut first. Then I'm going to have the mammogram, and then I get to go to a tennis team party. Okay. That's a mammo Sammy. Okay.
Liz, what are you up to?
Well, I mentioned that I was away for 2 months. I was up in Oregon. And I've also confessed in the past that one of my strong suits is not mail management.
Oh, no. Liz.
So I do have 2 months worth of mail I have to start.
Oh,
through.
Liz.
And because while I was gone, I had someone picking up my mail, both from the Satellite Sisters mailbox and my personal mailbox. And so when I got home the other night, I sorted it into piles, but I haven't started opening anything yet. So I thought, well, just focus on getting the first show done, and then you can open the mail after after we do the season premiere. So yeah, 2 months worth of mail. Wish me luck. Wish me luck.
Okay, Elise.
I am happy to report that there's only one letter in there that's from the Internal Revenue Service.
Oh, good.
and
That seems good. That's a
and-
separate you have a separate pile for the IRS. Good.
Yes,
But-
yeah, and it is not about our company, Mudbath Productions. It's about my other company. So so you don't need to worry. And Diane Gray, if you're listening, you don't need to worry either.
All right. Well, on my to-do list by the end of the week, I'm going to be an empty nester. So I will be
Wow.
cooking dinner naked again. I'm looking forward to that. With my caraway cookware, just cooking naked in the kitchen.
Okay.
Woo!
Okay, chef, go after it.
Magic Lian.
We're the Satellite Sisters. Hey, sisters, have a great week.
You too,
You too.
Liam.
Don't forget to call your satellite sister.